In the early 1900s, it's estimated that a fifth of all the ships in the world were made right here on the River Clyde. But perhaps the most famous ship of all was the QE2. Work began on the QE2 in July 1965, and Ronnie Kerr was a young apprentice at the time.
So a year as an office boy and a runner around the shipyard, watching all what was going on, building ships. Dozens of ships were being built at that time. And the apprentice supervisor would assess you and see what you were best to do, a turner, a fitter, or whatever. So I was chosen to be an engine fitter. Everything was built in the shipyard. Very little was actually brought in from the outside. We made everything on site. So it was a great apprenticeship to see all that. And then the highlight of that, in my second year, there was a rumour going round that Cunard Line would like to build a new liner to replace the Queen Mary and the Queen Elizabeth. It was nicknamed Q4. And I remember when the order was finally placed with the shipyard, there was a lot of euphoria within the town. It meant a lot of work for a lot of people for a lot of years. The work was starting to thin out, so getting this new contract from Cunard was a big bonus. Lots of celebrations in the local pubs.
She was launched right here on the 20th of September 1967, and 30,000 people came to Clydebank to watch the ceremony with the Queen and Prince Philip. The launch went well, although there was some confusion on the ship's official name.
All the apprentices, everybody was there, standing in the crowds, you know, along the sides, you know, so just wherever you could. I mean, you didn't need a vantage point because you were looking up at this thing, you know. So it was there for everybody to see. Again, the name was kept secret until the day of the launch. So there was a lot of speculation regarding the name, you know, Victoria, Queen Anne. Winston Churchill was kicked around, and I'm sure all people will remember a lot of the speculation and all the names. And then the day came, herself and Her Majesty came to launch the ship. She actually said, I named the ship Queen Elizabeth II.
I named this ship Queen Elizabeth II.
In actual fact, the ship was Queen Elizabeth II, i.e. the second Queen Elizabeth. So there was a lot of kind of intake of breath there, and within the people that thronged around the ship, because I remember somebody saying, well, in Scotland, she's not Queen Elizabeth II, she's Queen Elizabeth I in Scotland. But won't go into that. Yeah, just launched from over there, where the college is. The tail end of the slipways are still evident. Just beyond that, it was the platform they built for the royal party for the launching. Her Majesty coming to launch the ship that day. And we were all round about, you know, just round about this area, you know. It was thousands of people. She was launched and with great aplomb. Oh, it was electric. I mean, could you think that wasn't just a ship, it was a Cunard transatlantic liner. I mean, it was, as they said at the time, the last of the breed. There'll never be another one. But it's quite eerie standing here, knowing what I know and seeing what I remember, you know. Great place. There we are, we move on.
It's estimated that over the 19th and 20th centuries, around 30,000 ships were made here on the Clyde. Sadly though, the shipbuilding industry has since been in decline. But for those who helped build the ships, they can look back with pride, knowing that they played their part in history.
The history of the ship is, it's just sewn right into the whole of the history of the Clyde. Rumour has it, I mean, an eighth of the world's shipping was built in the Clyde in its heyday. I mean, they used to say you go down to any ship in the world and shout down the engine room hatch, "Oi, Jock!" You'd always get a reply. So many famous ships built in these shipyards up and down the Clyde, John Brown's, Fairfields. But the QE2 seems to stand out in most people's mind in kind of modern history. And to be involved in that, the building of her, and actually sailing on her, is quite an honour, to be honest with you.